This piece was inspired by the top spheres around the world and is 22 by 18.5. The first sphere is Sphere of Spiders. I used a muted color palette with deep and dark shadows to show the volumized pleating in the skirt and the corset top. It is representative of a spider web with soft and connecting lines but a hard edge. The ideal fabric is satin, which is emulated in the 2D format by adding white highlights on the high points of the dress. The second sphere is Sphere of Heights, which has inspired the striped jumpsuit. Having one piece with these curving lines elongates and draws in the model, making her appear more like a building. The monochromatic color scheme adds to this effect. The third sphere is Sphere of Monsters. The skirt is a voluminous bright orange fringe skirt to emulate fur and is further enhanced by the crisp, structured top featuring a cold shoulder detail. The faces are also darkened so that anyone can see themselves in these spheres, making it more representative to each individual. My second piece in this collection is entitled Vintage Vixen. It is 600 by 800 pixels. One of my favorite eras of fashion and style is the 1950s, but I wanted to give it a modern twist. So, the dress is a traditional circle skirt, full of volume and twirl, like a person would typically see in the 1950s, but it is a sleeveless and the length is a bit shorter to accommodate a modern day aesthetic. Also, the hairstyle is a traditional one, but the color is bright purple, something I see a lot of modern women today experimenting with. This was done completely digitally, despite the fact that it has a traditional watercolor look to it. To make this style of painting digitally, I overlaid watercolor paper textures into my drawing. Also, with the actual painting, I added a feathered or fringed edge to look like the water was pooling at the edges. For the painting itself, I started with my base colors and then added shadows to give it more depth. The light is coming from the top left, meaning that the shadows would have to follow that rule. I added in the hair by adding additional dark and light strands and added shadows into the skirt to give it more volume. Overall, I feel this piece shows what can be done digitally, whether trying to emulate a traditional medium or do something completely different. It also really represents my art style of clean, soft, and straightforward design with something a little different added into the mix. "3D printing is the future of art and design." My 3 3D printed jewelry pieces were made on the MakerBot 3000 3D printer. The pieces were all designed in Tinkercad, which combines geometric shapes into pieces that can be printed. The necklace is 3 spheres stacked on top of one another with 4 rounded ellipses. It is 1 by 1 by half an inch. The next piece is a red bracelet. It has the same ridge texture to it, featuring a connecting pattern of trapezoid-like shapes to form the whole bracelet. It is printed as one piece in red and is flexible so it can stretch over someone's hand and onto their wrist. It is 4 by half. The final piece is a ring. It is 1 by 1.5 by 1/8 of an inch. It is a hexagon shape with 6 other hexagons forming holes inside of it with a sphere placed on top. It is reminiscent of a honeycomb. I feel all 3 pieces are modern jewelry pieces and show the capabilities of 3D printing. It is fashion forward, and this is real wearable art.